Greetings and welcome to ValoU. I'm Zaladrith and I'll be your instructor for today. This week's homework is Silent DMs. If Valorant is a sound-based game, why are we depriving ourselves of an advantage in DM? Remember that the goal of this kind of practice is just that, practice. Improvement here has nothing to do with winning, so don't let yourself be distracted. Under the tenets of deliberate practice, you should be actively thinking about which growth area you're targeting and what practice tool lets you improve most efficiently. Practicing in the range is often a good tool because you can get a lot of reps fast, but it doesn't simulate realistic conditions. Practicing in comp is under real conditions, but there's often a very long time between chances to practice gunfighting. Silent DMs are a happy medium that can help bridge the gap between the two by providing high reps of slightly more realistic conditions, but this only applies if the skills you're practicing make sense under those conditions. For instance, a few skills that make sense to practice here are crosshair placement, shield and sword, strafe shooting, gun hygiene, and entrying. When picking a skill to practice, try to really just focus on one at a time, for instance, one skill per game, or it'll be hard to experience improvement. Focusing on everything is focusing on nothing. Once it starts to feel comfortable, switch to a different skill the next game. The most efficient learning happens while practice is uncomfortable since the mind is still trying to learn it. To get started, load into your DM and completely uncheck in-game audio. Most people like to just turn the volume lower, but it's safer and simpler to just turn it off entirely to avoid even subconscious information. This lets you get used to being surprised by enemies, helping to desensitize against panic and training reflexes under more realistic conditions, such as when enemies are shift walking or holding you from off angles. You can listen to music while you practice if it's really too boring, but that's better left for the range, as the goal here is to simulate the conditions of a real match as best we can, so the fewer differences, the better. When practicing skills like crosshair placement, don't get lazy just because it's a DM. The goal here is to learn good habits and make them instinct, not bad habits. Try to let your gun have as close to 100% uptime as you can manage, always aimed at the most likely location you can get peaked. Another common mistake is breaking crosshair placement or knifing out after each kill. In a real game, the most dangerous time is right after you kill an enemy, as other enemies attempt to trade. Another DM-specific time students often let down their guard is when retrieving health packs. Get used to memorizing location and strafing towards health packs while keeping your gun and crosshair ready, since it's good practice for when you need to path to a dropped gun without looking at it, and enemies can come from any direction. Practicing shield and sword is great in silent DM since you won't have sound cues to warn you against lax positioning. Whenever you die from off screen, think to yourself whether you could have broken that sightline sooner or pathed in a way to increase the chances of isolating your fights. This pathing and positioning can carry over to real games, letting you prefer positioning in ways that leave you less exposed. Silent DMs are great for strafe shooting since even though the mechanics and technique can be practiced in the range, the instinctual reaction to strafe instead of panic spray is best trained against real enemies. If you need help making it instinct, you can temporarily throw gun hygiene out the window, as it's easier to relearn gun hygiene later than it is to first learn instinctual strafe shooting. Every fight, no matter the range, fight in 1 to 3 shot bursts and strafe between your shots. This forces reps under pressure of unexpected enemy fire, which is one of the simplest ways to prepare you against panicking, without spending all the time of a round-based game mode. Once you're used to strafe shooting, this is the perfect mode to practice good gun hygiene. Choosing the right technique for each range while being surprised is extremely important, and silent DMs let you experience that panic and reaction pattern a lot more than real games. Think about your gunfight choices after every single fight, and decide if there is a better way to take the fight, ignoring whether you won or lost it. Practicing entering is also great in silent DMs. It takes a lot of confidence and bravery to be able to repeatedly swing into the open at disadvantage, and is much more efficient to practice in DMs than real matches where you'd spend most of your time dead. This is especially important for players maining roles other than duelist, as they're far less likely to get the chance to entry in a real game, and are far more likely to have confidence issues. To enhance pathing practice, clear every corner as if you actually expect enemies there, and don't hesitate to kill AFK players in those corners. If you lazy clear or skip clearing, those habits are more likely to carry over into your real games. To further improve pathing, prefer to push paths that an attacker might use on an execute or post plant, or that a defender might use on a rotation or site retake. Remember that in a real game, when you're forced to try for an impossible retake with no util into disciplined enemies, it won't be much worse than running around in a silent DM. Your homework is to play one silent DM before each gaming session as part of your warm-up. Use the concepts from deliberate practice to decide on exactly which skill you want to focus on before you jump in. Ignore your score or if you win or lose. Don't expect to start winning your DMs even if you improve, since this practice is designed to make things harder on you. You'll likely get crushed and your DM elo may fall, but you'll be getting invaluable practice. In summary, silent DMs are a useful tool to more closely simulate the situations found in a real match while applying deliberate practice. It's a great way to practice skills like crosshair placement, shield and sword, gun hygiene, strafe shooting, and entry by focusing on one skill per game. Try to play at least one silent DM each day after warming up in the range and before your real games. And if you're ever worried in a 1v5 when you have nothing to lose, at least running in can't be that much worse than playing a silent DM. That's all for this week's homework assignment. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to the lecturer or the TAs in the comments below. Thanks for attending, and we hope you enjoy your stay here at ValoU.